If you've been in business long enough, you've probably read a book or you've gotten advice from one person or the other talking about the importance of systems in your business. I had my first business failure 2 years into starting. That was back in 2012 because and only because I didn't know about systems and I didn't have any idea about what they were. So, one thing about systems is that they help you become consistent. They help you implement consistency in your business, and consistency is something that I have been hammering on in the past 3 years or 4 years. I think I talk about having consistency written in red on my whiteboard in my office, and that consistency. A lot of times, people implement systems in their businesses, but either they are not a match or they're intimidating and they ignore this system. So today we'll be talking about making your systems stick. On this topic, we'll talk about systems generally. We'll talk about implementing these systems, like I said, making the systems stick, and as also automation, ways you can use tech to make systems easier in an easy to understand way. And today on this podcast, we'll be talking with Marianne Page. So welcome to the show, Marianne. I just heard she's in my same time zone for the first time in a long time.
Great to be here. Great to be here, all the way from the UK. Love it.
Thank you. All right. So I was reading your bio. You talked about working for a couple of years in McDonald's. So can you just share that journey with us
Yeah,
from McDonald's to becoming a systems expert for businesses?
absolutely. Anybody that knows about McDonald's knows that they are built on the foundation of systems, and I worked with them for, interesting to say, a couple of years. It was actually 27 years. Um,
Whoa.
I mean, it started in the restaurants like everybody does, and then moved into various different departments, training manager for a while, running support services. It was, yeah, a really interesting time with McDonald's. And the funny thing about McDonald's is that nobody ever talks about systems and processes. And in fact, since I left McDonald's and set up my own business, which is now a global small business, um, I realize how few people do systemize their business, but I also realize why they don't systemize it. And for me, the language of systems actually gets in the way. So, I hear myself saying the word process, but actually the word process shrinks a little bit of my soul every time I say it. It's a it's a real blocking word. It's sort of it sounds bureaucratic. It sounds like we're talking about something difficult. So I try not to use that word as if I can. I try to get away from it because even if even if I'm talking to a business owner who loves the word process, their team will not all love the word process. And so I talk about uh, basically what I learned at McDonald's, which was if you have one way to do everything and it's your business way, so in the McDonald's case, it's McDonald's way of, then and you teach everybody how to follow that one right way, then you're going to be able to achieve more consistency. So that's really how leaving McDonald's. To be honest, I wasn't 100% sure what McDonald's had given me that would help small businesses, because you come out of a big corporate and you think you're still in that corporate
Yeah.
mindset, and then you go into small business and it's so different. I love working with smaller businesses because it's mostly sort of SMEs, but they are so agile and flexible and quick to make decisions that, yeah, it's great to work with. But what I've recognized is that there are four sets of systems in every business. So firstly, we have the sexy systems, and they are the marketing, the branding, the all of the systems that say, look at me, look at my wonderful business, look how
Yeah.
great we are. And it's great with those systems. It's so easy to automate them. It's so easy to use tech to really, really sort of expand your reach, your visibility, and I love that. But business owners get really hung up on the sexy systems, and they invest most of their time on learning about them, listening to podcasts, watching videos, hiring in consultants. They spend an awful lot of time, energy, and money on their sexy systems. But there are three other sets of systems that don't get as much. So the second set are your security systems. They're the systems that keep your business safe, stable, financially healthy, and they are all of the financial systems, your cash flow management, your maybe your dashboard management, all of the things that keep you safe, and also your planning system. And it's when more recently, as I've been thinking about McDonald's planning system, I recognize that the fact that they have one and that they are constantly, I refer to it as like they are meerkats rather than hamsters. Many business owners are just hamsters on the wheel. They've constantly got their head down.
Yeah.
Whereas whereas if you're a meerkat, you see what's coming, you see opportunities, you see challenges, and you can do something about it. And and McDonald's ability to move with the tech as it grows, I think this is a real strong area for them. They have managed to stay relevant for years and years and years because they're not early adopters of tech, but they see it coming, they plan for it, and then they bring it in when it's right for them.
Hmm.
And there've been so many technological changes in the way McDonald's operate. Certainly, over my time with McDonald's, I saw, crikey, actually, I shouldn't really say this because it ages me terribly. But when I joined McDonald's, we still had secretaries who typed up notes for us.
Wow.
It's like, I know. I remember the first Apple Mac computer coming into the business and look at this, it's amazing. Yeah, just so different. And now, there's the whole ordering by screens, and it's just the norm. I mean, it's really just the norm. And I know that they will be working on how they can use AI more readily within their business, because that's what they do. They're, as I say, they're meerkats. So the sexy systems, security systems. The next set are really the service systems, and this is the nuts and bolts of every business. The how they deliver what they do, how they run their operation. This is the real core. And when business owners say, I'm going to systemize their business, this is what they focus on. They focus on the operation, they focus on their customer journey or their client journey, and they look to streamline it. And it's great. And this is where developing one right way to do everything comes in. So I'm a big believer that a system really is just a simple, logical, and repeatable way of doing something. I wrote a book called that, Simple, Logical, Repeatable. But it is that's all a system should be for me. Um, you develop the simple, logical, repeatable way to do a task. You agree that it's our right way as our business, and then you um, teach it to your team. And this is where the fourth set of systems comes in, the sticky systems, because
Hmm.
McDonald's aren't consistent because they have a system for absolutely everything, even though they do in all areas of their business. They are consistent because everybody follows that one right way, and nobody would dream of doing it any other way. Nobody comes into a McDonald's restaurant as a new employee and goes, I know you're going to show me how to cook French fries, but actually, my mum cooks a mean French fry. Let me show you how she does it. That's the experience of many business owners. New people come in and they go, oh, that's not how I did it in business A. No, no, no. I honestly, that's great, but this is how we do it. This is how I want you to do it in our business. So the sticky systems are your hiring system, and that's getting the right people through the door first time. Um, and I would love hiring to become a sexy system. I would love people to invest as much time on attracting the right people to their teams as they do attracting the right customers to their business, because it's so important having the right people around you. And with the right people around you, everything is easier. So hiring system, training system, making sure that you teach everybody your way of doing things. And then the third really important system is the feedback system, actually giving people feedback. And, maybe people listening from around the world go, yeah, we always give our team feedback. In the UK, giving feedback is not common practice. It's like, oh God, it's confrontation. Even with a waitress in a restaurant, you've had a horrible meal. The waitress comes over and says, "How was everything?" You go, "Yeah, fine."
It's all
And
right.
yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But it is a fact that many people see feedback as confrontation, don't they? And my favorite is telling somebody, "Can I just give you some constructive criticism?" And all anybody hears is the word criticism. Nobody's bothered about the word constructive. You're gonna criticize me. So yeah, those three systems really make everything else stick. If you really and McDonald's invest massively in training people. They make sure that everybody understands exactly how to do something, and they watch them, they test them, they check that they can do it, and they give them feedback when they do it well. They give them feedback if they're not following the standard. That's how they achieve consistency. And I think these days there is a lot of businesses, because tech has advanced so much. They go, let's bring in a piece of software, and then let's shoehorn the way we want things to be done into this piece of into this software system. Whereas my view is, build the way you want things done, and then load the tech onto that. Get the tech to automate areas that can be automated. Get the tech to smooth out the lines, but don't be don't be led by the tech. Be led by getting the most simple, logical, repeatable way of doing something. Be led by that, then overlay the tech.
Yes,
Is
and I
that
think
is
I
is that
agree.
is that your is that your experience, Peter?
True. So I think I'm supposed to be a techie, but I believe a lot in paper. Before I believe a whole lot. So most things I want to do, I start with paper before I move to maybe a spreadsheet. Before we start moving to any complex technologies, because a lot of the times you have the tech is already built, and it has a lot of things that you don't need, you're not ready for, and it's a lot of times it just
Yes,
confuses you, because most of the times you just need those basics, the framework, the foundation, and build for your own business. Like you said, it's
yeah,
your own right way of
yes.
doing things. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. No, it is really interesting. I was at a conference last week, and I was up on stage with the main guy who's running the event, and I was doing my thing, and he said, I want to tell you about AI, how you can use AI with this. He said you can get AI to create all of your processes, and I'm standing looking at the audience going, don't do it. Don't do it. Because the best way to engage your team is to get them to create the processes, to get them to create
Yes.
how-to videos. Absolutely use AI to strip out the transcript of a video to create a documented how-to guide. But you've got to get the team to be involved in the creation of your way of doing things, to agree that this is the best way to do things, and then you're onto a winner, really, because you have their buy-in, which is, it's bad enough the business owner saying, I'm going to create all of our processes, all of our how-to guides. But if you say, well, actually they were created by a robot, like the team just aren't going to buy in. They're just not going to buy in. I do love AI. I do love AI, and I absolutely know that it's here. It's not the future, but I think there's a time and a place, and I'm often called the systems person, but really I'm the people person, because systems only exist to make life easier for people. whether
Yeah.
that's the business owner, the team, the client, the customer, that's the only reason they exist. And if a system doesn't make somebody's life easier, it's the wrong system.
True. Okay,
That's
so
just a
you've talked
fact.
about, yeah, I think I like the way you broke it down into the sexy systems, the security systems, the service systems, and the sticky systems. So now you talked about those things from the context of McDonald's, which is a really big business. So now
Yeah.
for a small business, which is your market, which you've mentioned,
Yes.
how does having effective systems and processes
Yes. Yeah. I know you can't get away from saying it, can you? It is hard. It is hard.
so how does
You
this
can keep
contribute
saying
to
it.
their growth?
You can keep
Yeah.
saying the word, but just recognize that it's a block for the team. I think that's the thing. So with a what I always say with a smaller team is to map out your customer journey, not from the marketing side, but from the operational side. So from the point that a customer has actually called your business, and I love doing this exercise on a big roll of brown paper, and I have a swim lane for the client, and then swim lanes for each of the individual teams, or in a smaller business, each of the individuals that comes into contact with the customer at some point, whether it's sending them an invoice or having the initial call with them, and then mapping out exactly what currently happens step by tiny step. So using post-it notes, okay, what happens? Right, well, the customer calls, and usually I get, well, the customer calls, and then we book them in, and we're like, whoa, let's go back there. So the customer calls. Who answers the phone? How do they answer the phone? How do they capture the information that the customer gives them? And we use one color post-it note for all of the steps, and then a different color post-it note, a brighter one, for all of the issues that we uncover or opportunities for improvement. So if, quite often it's, well, who answers the phone? Anybody that's not busy. Immediately that's an issue, because how do you control that? How do you make sure that a call's answered within 3 rings or whatever your standard is? So this is about getting right down into the detail. So that's always the first point of call. It's like, what's working currently? What isn't? What can we improve and develop? And from there, we end up with a to-do list of fixes, if you like. So the business owner goes away with the team, and they fix all of the issues. Then I say to them, okay, now it's time to look at your routine tasks, role by role. Take each role and think about exactly what you do every day, every week, once a week, every month, once a month, what particular day is it? And really think about um, getting those routines mapped, and then step by step creating a how to, ideally for me, a how to video of exactly how you want that task done. You know, get the whether it's an individual or the team around you, and go, okay, what's the best way to do this task? It doesn't have to be a long, let's sit for hours, pontificating. What's the best way to do this task? Do we all agree this is the best way? Okay, Jane, you capture that on video. That's going to be our one right way to do it. And it sounds like an overwhelming job, but actually, if you just had every team member create a how-to video every week, just one how-to video every week, you'd really very quickly build up your training system. And before we start the call, you talked about COVID and how your business pivoted. What happened to many businesses during COVID was that the one person who could do something went off sick, and everybody's going, "Oh, crikey, John was the only one who knew how to do that. How do we do that?" Whereas if you've got your how-to videos, you're not ransom to anybody going off sick or leaving you, or going on holiday even. You've got your training system in place. So a new person comes in, they're told, here is what you're going to learn how to do. I will still teach you one to one, but you've got these videos as your backup. And I do push the idea of having how-to videos rather than how-to documents, just because, you know, we all go to Google and YouTube to look at how to do something that we don't know how to do. We all have, our I don't know, bookkeeping software has how-to videos to show us how to do things we don't know how to do. So I'm a big fan of the how-to video.
I think, yeah, I am too, because I actually have a large library of everything, like for Target ICT, everything we do there, of videos, different videos. Ours is computer based, so just screen captures of different things we
Yeah,
do.
screen captures,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, many businesses have well, actually, many businesses, all of their tasks are online. Just not just tech businesses, just regular businesses.
yeah,
Most of their tasks are online, but it works also for physical tasks. I worked with a hotel recently, and they had videos of how to clean out the plug in the shower sink. They had video for how to set up the bridal suite bed
ooh,
for wedding night. I mean, it was great. I loved it. Um, do you what software do you use for your videos? Is it Loom?
Loom, Loom,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Loom.
Loom is, oh, it's so easy, isn't it? And the thing I love most about Loom is that it doesn't eat up any um, storage,
Yeah.
because you just get that link. That is so smart of them. It's really smart. I love that. Um, and where do you store your how-to videos? The ones that you've already created?
Okay, there's like a Notion document, so it has different segments. Yeah, so you just go
Ah,
to the
brilliant. Yeah.
link here, just like that.
Because that's often the question I'm asked is, okay, so if we're doing all these how-to videos, where do we store them? And for smaller businesses, like 2 or 3 team members, or even sole um, what do you call them? Solopreneurs, yeah, people who work on their own. Um,
Yeah,
a Notion or even a Google Sheet, just creating areas in the Google Sheet and putting the videos in there. But about 18, well, actually, it's only 2 years ago now, I came across Trainual. I don't know if you've
mm,
heard of that app before. Absolutely brilliant for a slightly bigger business, sort of, I don't know, 7 employees upwards, to make it worthwhile. But building in that app, role by role, all of those how-to videos, so that, and also being able to put all of your um, policies, like your employee handbook style material,
yeah,
in the front end. So I join your business, I'm given a login, and I can watch a video of the business owner welcome me to the team, or I can watch a video on our values as a team. I can see all my holiday policy, and also I can see what I need to learn on my probation period. So I can get ahead of the game, which I love. So yeah, it's a really good app. Really good app.
yeah. It is. So, and I think
Yeah.
I have one story that a lot of people will relate to concerning this systems issue. That's the story I talked about at the beginning. So, like, a year after starting my first web hosting business, I started a food business. I was that kind of person. I don't know how to cook. I didn't know how to cook, so it was a grill. So starting the grill, I had to get a really good chef to do the grilling. Um, it was a hit. So in less than a year, we opened about 4 or 5 branches.
Oh wow.
And yeah, the issue was that each branch, the taste of the food was different. The taste
Yeah.
and the quality was different. That's the first part. The second part is like a year or so into the business, I had to that was the first time I came to the UK, Coventry. I had to go to Coventry to do my MSc. And I think 3, 4, 5 months into leaving my city, the whole business failed because I
Wow.
wasn't there. There were no
Yeah.
systems. That
Yeah.
was the first food business. So the second food business, we had systems up to the amount of the teaspoon, how many teaspoons of salt you
Yeah.
put in the
Yeah.
food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so
So that's
important, though. It's so
yeah.
important.
like a lot of people look at it and they're like, why are you doing so much? Why are you being so this thing? They didn't know I'd learned a huge lesson before. And the issue was that this time we could bring in anybody with just an average level of cooking and they will
Yes,
make the perfect grill every time. So it was just,
fantastic.
I think
Oh my
that's why
God,
when that's why I told you we have
that
to
is
have
such a
this
good
topic.
story. I love that story because it's so true. I mean, Jamie Oliver, you know Jamie Oliver.
Oh
He
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah, I
opened
do.
he opened a bunch of Italian restaurants, and he had to close because of the inconsistency of the operation. You know,
Hmm.
they grew too fast, and they couldn't manage the consistency. At one stage, actually, when I joined McDonald's in the 80s, way back then, they were opening a restaurant every 7 days.
Whoa.
So you know, they had to have consistent way to do everything to get planning permission to build the infrastructure of the restaurant, to hire the team, to train the team, to hire the managers. It's like
Hmm.
just what it takes to open even just that one, and then to
Yeah.
expand to expand to five, six, seven. If you don't have the foundation and it's like I keep referring to it as a blueprint, because for me, if you've got that blueprint of particularly sticky systems, but if you've got a blueprint of exactly how you want things to operate, you can, it's so much easier to scale your business, to franchise your business, to sell your business. How much more valuable is a business that doesn't need the business owner in it day to day, and that has a training system, whether it's built in Notion, Google Sheets, or Trainual. It's like, here is our training system. So if all of these people leave you tomorrow because I'm going, actually you can hire new people in, and you have the blueprint for how we
Yeah.
achieved our success that you want to buy into. So, oh yeah, I love that story of you. I might actually borrow your story for future presentations, because but it's so true, isn't it? If you're not really specific about how you want things done, I mean, I do think there is a whole other story about hiring chefs. I
Yeah.
just, if you can get away from hiring chefs, I've never worked with a business yet that's had consistency with chefs involved. It's like they are just
Too much
they're a law.
experience.
Oh yeah, but they're a law unto themselves, aren't they? I mean, they
Yeah,
want to
it
do it
becomes a
their way.
problem.
Yeah, yeah. But if you don't need chefs, if you, I worked with a business. They were actually quite like McDonald's, but they sold beer. They half of their business was about craft beers, um,
Oh.
but they were employing chefs to cook hamburgers, and I'm going, seriously, why? Oh well, yeah, but it's we want them done about. Yeah, but if you want to scale, just and also from the flexibility of being able to bring somebody in and teach them, like McDonald's do, teach them how to work the front counter, how to deal with customers out in the dining area, how to cook French fries, how to grill a hamburger. You've got that flexibility then, that if somebody calls in sick, it's like, oh, right, Julie, can you go on the grill, because it's so much more flexible than having chefs. Stay away from chefs.
As far as you can.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, so now a lot of people have this objection to getting systems, especially businesses who are just starting or maybe starting out in the
Yes.
creative field. A lot of them say that having strict systems, having one right way is going to stifle creativity in
Oh,
the
I love that
business.
one. I love it. I love it. People always say that. It's so funny. But because it's not about, for me, when you have systems, they are the foundation that allows your people to be creative. So even in I don't know, say a graphic design business, there are certain tasks that have to be done every single day that can be systemized, that need to be systemized, that then allows and frees the creative person to do their thing. So that, whether that's, I don't know, they have to set up a client in a new folder, or they have to map out how they see the project working, whatever it might be. that there should be one right way to do that. And then the creative bit, knock yourself out, go and be creative. But it's about the foundation that we're really building here. The things that you don't want to have to think about. So I'm actually I did some profiling recently, and it was hilarious because I came out with one of the lowest scores on it was called refining energy. So low scores on the sort of thing that I should be really high. People would expect me to be high in terms of systems, but it's really, for me, you want to just have that base, so I don't have to think about the basic stuff. I just do it as a matter of routine. It's just I do several tasks. It's done. Right, I've got time now to free myself to be creative. And that's what I would encourage any creative business to think in terms of. What's all the basic admin that we can systemize, which actually gives us more time to work on the creative stuff for our clients.
Amazing. So now there are some business owners who, like I mentioned at the start, they've tried to implement systems before and for some reason they failed. So what advice would you give them again to try again successfully this time?
Yeah, great. Stop thinking about it in terms of systemizing the business. Stop talking about having processes and SOPs, standard operating procedures, because that language is, if you've tried and failed, the language of systems is getting in the way. Just think about developing your business way of doing things. That is, if you take nothing else from this podcast, just develop your way of doing things. Agree it with your team so that you get their buy-in, capture it, and build it into a training system. But just take, even if you just took one role at a time. Say say you're going to be hiring in the next few weeks or the next month. Just focus on that role. What is the way you want that new person to learn how to do their role, task by task by task, and get either the outgoing person or a fellow team member to create those how-to videos so that when they come in, they are coming into your way of doing this role, and then you can work on the next role and then the next role. Don't see it as this huge, oh, I've got to systemize my business. No, you just got to develop your way of doing things that everybody follows. But please don't forget your sticky systems. Please don't forget the importance of training and feedback. It's, we, most of us at some point learn to drive, and our driving instructor gives us feedback and we never get upset about it. It's like we just don't. A driving instructor gives us feedback, sometimes grabs the wheel, sometimes slams on their pedal. We don't get upset about it because we know that they are trying to make sure that we learn how to drive, they keep us safe, and that ultimately we pass our tests. So we buy into this fact that they are doing this to help us. And I think if we can learn to give feedback in a way that focuses on the behavior that somebody has exhibited rather than their personality, then then the feedback is acceptable, is much more acceptable. If somebody walks in the door and they're sort of really moody, and you say to them, "God, you're really moody today," they're going to react because it's personal. Whereas if they walk in and they are really moody, and you say, "Can I just check in with you because you've come in, you've snapped at three other team members, you've kicked your filing cabinet door, you've slammed your books down, all those are behaviors that you've seen, and it's talk to me, what's going on, because obviously that's not acceptable. I don't want you coming in like that and you know upsetting the environment, whatever it might be." So it's much more about their behavior rather than their personality.
Yeah, and I think feedback is really important. I know in my Toastmasters club, there is something to say all the time that feedback is the breakfast of champions.
Oh yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It just is. It's like, you either feedback or you fail. You can't achieve
Yes.
consistency if you don't give feedback. And often business owners will say to me, "Oh, yeah, but I don't want to be that person who's constantly, what, do it this way, you're not doing it right." I said, "But you've got to be the nag. You've got to be that person who nags until the standards are achieved. But once the
Yeah.
standards are achieved, then people take ownership, and then that frees you. So for for those business owners who've tried and failed, you need to try again because you are too essential to the business. If you haven't achieved consistency, then your people aren't able to take ownership because there's too many different ways to do everything. And just like you described in your first attempt at the restaurant business, if there's too many different ways to do something, you can't ever have consistency. So people can't ever take ownership for their role, and you will never be free of your business, which ultimately is what most business owners want. They want to just have a business that runs like clockwork without them needing to be there. And that's exactly what McDonald's have got. And it's not because they're a big business. They started out as a tiny, tiny business, probably smaller than most of the people listening to this podcast. It was a tiny business, but they worked out the right way to do things. They taught people how to do them. People took ownership for them. And franchisees these days, yes, they do work in their business because they like to keep their hand in, but they don't have to. They've got teams of people who just operate the restaurant, and it operates well. It operates to their standard, without them needing to be there. And that's that opens up so much opportunity for a business owner.
Amazing. So, with the businesses you've worked with, what's one of the most surprising outcomes you've seen from one of them implementing systems in their business?
Well, the best one for me was that I went to work with a business owner and a team who, the business owner said to me, "I've had enough. I just want out. I'm sick of it. I just, I hate that I have to be so involved in the day to day. It's a real pain. I just want to get rid of the business." And so we started working, developing his one way to do everything, and within, I can't remember, it was 5 or 6. Anyway, it was within a relatively short time. Within 6 months, he was going, "Do you know what? Actually, I realized that I don't want to sell my business because actually it makes good money, and people seem really happy in it. But it's great because I can go off," and he actually moved to Thailand. So his business is in the
Wow.
UK. He's living in Thailand, and his business just operates, generates loads of cash for him. He's set up a new business that he absolutely loves, and so everybody's getting what they want. His team have fully taken ownership for the running of the business in the UK. He's able to live in Thailand, and I just loved that. I loved that he hated his business and wanted to sell it, and then he just fell back in love with it because he realized that it could work without him.
Yeah. Okay, so now for listeners who have come this far and they are really interested in systems and making their developing one right way to do everything, what's
Yeah.
one simple exercise or activity that they can do right after this podcast to start thinking more along those lines for their business?
Yeah, the most simple one, the best one, but it takes time and it's a challenge, would be to map out their customer journey and find out what's working well and what isn't with their team. Um, but the most simple is to map out those routine tasks role by role and really understand what people are actually doing day to day, and then to figure out what is the one right way. Just take one of those roles and go, right, let's develop our one right way to do this. That would be the most simple, straightforward way to start implementing. But stop using the word process. It's blocking. It's a block word. It's a block word. You can talk about it. You can talk about it at home, or when you're on your own. But with your team, it's just, this is our way of doing things.
And I think I agree with you because that second food business I talked about, I started with two partners. One of the partners was the one who was really all about the systems, and I won't lie, I used to be irritated with systems, process system. I'm like, oh god, But at the end of when they started working, I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
this was it.
Yeah, exactly. I love what systems and processes do, but the language definitely gets in the way.
It's
It's,
too much, yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now for listeners who have listened to this, who have learned a lot like I have, who have gotten a lot of insights about these things, systems, and the right ways of doing things in your business, the one right way of doing things in your business. If they want to continue this conversation, they want to learn more about your work, or they want to connect with you or get additional resources on this topic, what's the best way for them to
Yeah.
reach you?
Well, they can check out my website, which has a lot on there, and that's mariannepage.com. So www.mariannepage.com. Um, if they want to sort of get a little bit more in depth, then check out Simple, Logical, Repeatable, the book, which is also on Audible. If you can cope with my voice for 4 or 5 hours, trust. Oh, so sorry.
No, that's fine. I have one of them too.
Oh, just seen a squirrel running past. I think it's terrible, terrible. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's the best way. If if they want to get a little bit more information without without getting in touch with me, read the book or listen to the book, and then get in touch. Absolutely, and wherever you are in the world, I'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. So marianpage.com, simple, logical, repeatable on Audible to get the book for 5 hours of Marianne's voice. So you just continue from where we stopped. That's
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks so much for being an amazing guest today.
I've absolutely loved it, Peter. Thank you very much for having me.
Did you get any value from this episode? Did you Are you inspired to develop one right way to do things in your business? Have you learned the importance of sticky systems? That's your hiring, your training, and your feedback, very important feedback systems. If you did, if you learned something from this episode, share it with someone else who's going to learn the same things or even more from the episode. And if you want to be the first person to know when we release new episodes like this to improve your business, tech, systems, whatever, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe wherever you're seeing us, wherever you're hearing us. So we have over 100 episodes. Listen to them till next week when we bring out a brand new episode. And don't forget to keep tech in your business. Bye for now.